Am I the a-hole for my response when my mother-in-law threatened to not show up to my wedding? I'm a 33-year-old doctor, pediatrician, and I'm getting married to my fiancé this November. I have a somewhat controlling mother-in-law, and wedding planning has been an absolute nightmare so far. Okay, here's the situation. My fiancé doesn't have an income because of her medical situation, but she'll go back to work later. So therefore, I'm financing the entire wedding. I've set a specific budget for the wedding and honeymoon, and planned for everything. Date, guests, food, etc. Mother-in-law wanted things her way, and made a fuss about everything since that's her only daughter. I found out she and her husband found a venue they wanted us to have the wedding at. But the problem is, A, it's very expensive, and B, it's several towns away. My family even said they'd have to drop out if I choose this venue. So I told mother-in-law I don't want it. She kept trying to convince me, and made so much fuss about it to the point where she made it her hill to die on. I kept saying no to her, and she kept insisting. I got home from work on Tuesday, and found mother-in-law, father-in-law, and a couple of her relatives there, visiting when there was no one home. She started talking about it again while I was resting on the couch taking my socks off. I said, hold on, who the hell starts a conversation like that? I just sat down for Christ's sake. Let me catch my freaking breath, will you? But that didn't stop her. She sternly said that her daughter deserves to have her wedding at that venue, and that I'm a doctor, I can afford it, and distance was just an excuse. She said she made a reservation by phone, and I had to pay for it within set time, while pointing at me with her finger, which I thought was rude and very, very disrespectful, followed by or else. I asked, or else what? And she said that if I choose any other venue, then she won't attend the wedding. I didn't budge like she thought I would. I just leaned forward and said, all right. I guess the trash took itself out then. The entire house was silent. Complete shutdown. She stood up and called me disrespectful at the POS to expect her to take my insults as gospel. It argued that I was being a cheapskate. But I replied that she was acting like a gold digger, and that she needed to sit down and shut up and let me and my fiancé handle this, or just go home. She started crying, then walked out, and everyone followed. Father-in-law was this close to spit in my face. My fiancé found out and said I disrespected her mom and treated her like crap. I explained how unreasonable her mom was with her demands and total lack of consideration for me, my hard-earned money, and family. She said she was going to settle this with her without my intervention, but honestly, it blew her mind how low I stooped with how I treated her mom. She wanted some time alone, because she is thinking I might be someone else hiding behind a mask with how I behaved, which hurt me to no end. I think I messed up. I just think I should have waited my fiancé to deal with it, but I felt overwhelmed when she spoke to me like that. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. And if your partner isn't going to stick up for you and her mother is outright harassing you, you may want to reconsider the marriage. I sure as hell would be reconsidering the marriage. Her parents broke into their house with a posse to stage an intervention about a location, and OP is the problem? I'd at the minimum be putting the whole thing on hold. Sure, OP was blunt in his response, but I wouldn't say it was unwarranted at that point. Not today, home. Exactly right with putting the wedding on hold. Time to establish a firm boundary that OP is not going to be pushed around. Also time to set a firm expectation with the fiancé that OP expects her to have his back. Finally, if/when the wedding goes ahead, make sure to have passwords established with all the vendors/venue, so mother-in-law can't change things. That is, cancel OP's venue. Not stay home. Your fiancé's attitude is setting the stage for your entire marriage. You should seriously reconsider whether you want to live with this type of behavior for the rest of your life, or however long your marriage might last. If you go through with it, please consider a prenup agreement if you already have assets in place. Not stay home. Get out now and cut your losses. It's not worth it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my friend a home wrecker? Backstory. My friend's 21 female family was completely destroyed by her father having a mistress when she was 14. My cousins are getting married, both related to me. They're not related to each other. And my cousin Steve, 27 male, is bisexual and is getting married to Tom, 31 male, who is gay. I live with Alice, who is the friend in this. Alice is incredibly flirty with almost anyone she sees, which is fine. I'm not judging her for that. She has flirted with both Steve and Tom at some point during the time they have known Alice. I came home one day to Alice practically screaming. I asked what was wrong, and she showed me her phone while still crying/screaming. On her phone, she had Facebook Messenger open and had a bunch of messages from Tom. I won't type them out word for word because they were not polite. But turns out Steve had slept with Alice, and now the wedding is off. I was sure this was a misunderstanding because Steve was devoted to Tom, and I know what happened to Alice's family, so I calmed her down to get her side of the story. She told me that she was at a bar and saw Steve. They got talking over some drinks and she and him hooked up in a hotel room. I was mad. I asked her why did she do that, and she said, "He is bi. Why are you surprised?" I went ballistic. I called her a homewrecker for sleeping with someone she knows is in a relationship. She went back to screaming and crying, and basically said I was betraying her. I replied, "The only one here that is betrayed is Tom, and you became no better than your father's side piece." She screamed some more and I left to go to sleep at my parents'. I woke up to so many messages, including Alice, saying I was an a-hole for using Alice's trauma to hurt her badly. My parents are on my side, and my mom said I should have known, given how Alice acts around people, that I haven't heard from Steve or Tom at all. So am I the a-hole? Should I have kept my mouth shut and just be there for Alice? Edit. Since a lot of people are repeating what has already been said, I'm gonna use an edit to make a blanket statement. I 100% also blame Steve, but I'm getting radio silent from him, so I can't have the "I blame you to" talk. Not stay home. She brought this on herself, and has no right to play the victim when she actively went after each of them at different times in their relationship, and then managed to sleep with one of them. How is it that she's the one who was traumatized when she knew exactly what she was doing and still did it? Did she honestly think it was okay to sleep with a guy in a relationship because he was marrying another guy and was himself bisexual? His sexuality is not a free pass for her to sleep with him when he was in a committed relationship of any kind. Would she have done that if he had been about to marry a woman? Did she think it wasn't the same as her family because there were no kids involved yet? She is the a-hole and an idiot. No, Alice made this mess and has no one to blame but herself and Steve. As my new favorite saying from Reddit goes, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The bi remark pisses me off because we have 2 people in our mutual friend group who are bi too. So how does she think of them? Also, I've had a few bi partners, and while none of them lasted, it was never due to cheating. Not stay home. Your friend talks about her trauma, but legit just did what the other woman did to her family. If it was so traumatic, she wouldn't or shouldn't have done it. The only people in this that aren't the a-hole are you and Tom. Thank you. This is exactly how I feel. Next story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for not giving my brother a heads up that he wouldn't be my son's godfather?" My brother and I were close growing up. He was the big brother who didn't treat his baby sister like she was the most annoying person on the planet, while I treated him like a person and didn't expect him to cater to me all the time. That changed when he started dating his wife. She and I have a long history. She was the school mean girl, and while she changed a lot, she still had issues with me because I was the kid who stood up to her when we were kids. I didn't let her treat my friends like crap, and she hated that she couldn't get under my skin. In my high school yearbook, she told me to go screw myself. My brother always said she had fully changed, but nah. He wanted me to let go of the past and move forward in hopes she would let it go. We had always said when we had kids, we would make each other the godparent, which for our family just means they are the people you choose to raise your kid if something happens to you. Well, I had my son a year ago, and I did not ask my brother to be a godparent. I refused to let his wife be his godparent, and I would sooner see him raised by strangers than raised by her. We chose my husband's sister and her significant other. My brother is heartbroken that we didn't pick him, and that I didn't warn him. I figured saying nothing would be easier, because it's not like we're as close anymore. But it says this is just me being unreasonable regarding his wife, and the fact she doesn't even get an aunt title around my son is terrible. And the fact I would pass over him as a godfather because of her shows that I am immature and that I turned into the mean girl. He told me my hatred for her is irrational. He's trying to bring our family into this, but they're staying out of it. But I know they all wish I would leave the past in the past. I feel bad for hurting him, but at the same time, I have been clear with him before that I will not welcome his wife into my life more than I already have had to. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I hear nothing here about sister-in-law reaching out to you to demonstrate that bygones are bygones and that she has changed. or forming any sisterly relationship with you or bonding with your son that would indicate she would be interested in a godmother role. If you gave it to a couple that both have a good relationship with you and your son, that's your choice. Even if things had been okay with sister-in-law, by the way, that doesn't automatically mean your brother should get picked over your husband's sister. Lastly, to be honest, this sounds a bit unfair on your part. If your sister-in-law is not allowed to be called aunt to your son, they should have clued them up, surely? I'm going to say not today, Hall. As an adult and parent, you're not obligated to put your child in a situation you're uncomfortable with. You should have talked to your brother beforehand, though. Negative surprises are worse than positive ones, and not the most adult way to deal with things. You didn't give any examples of why you think she hasn't changed, but as adamant as you are, I assume you have observations to validate your stance. First time we met again, she tried to get under my skin. She made a comment about how we were going to be sisters and how funny life was. I told her we were not sisters. They weren't even engaged at the time. And she asked how my family would feel about that. I told her they could feel how they want. She told me I wasn't going to win, whatever that means. My brother told me we would be sort of sisters. She also asked my family how much it sucked that I would call her my sister, and were they disappointed in me. I didn't even look in her direction when she said it. She also bugged me about seeing the message from my yearbook. I told her I didn't keep mine, and then went to my brother about it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my son his father's name? My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. I have a 4-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, and I'm 37 weeks pregnant with my second child, his first. My daughter's by father and I were engaged, and when she was born, she took his last name. Shortly after, and in the following year, he decided he was tired of working and being an adult. So he quit his job, started strategically investing in Bitcoin, and when he lost all of his money, he started selling drugs behind my back. One day, I walked into the spare bedroom and he was smoking heroin. He broke down and told me everything, so I filed a protective order and left him. He is not involved in my daughter's life. It hasn't been in over 3 years. However, he has fought me tooth and nail in court to avoid changing her surname. My son with my boyfriend is due in 3 weeks. My boyfriend is the exact opposite of my ex and works incredibly hard to provide for us. As a team, I also work 2 jobs and I pay half the bills plus my daughter's care. However, he has been incredibly hands-off throughout my pregnancy. He has refused to attend doctor's appointments with me. He's freaked out by the baby kicking. I did a 3D ultrasound as a late birthday/Father's Day gift at 27 weeks, and he was taken aback and said, "Don't ever do something like that again." He looks underdeveloped and it freaks me out. Given all of that, a myriad of other factors, and the fact that he's vehemently opposed to the idea of getting married anytime soon, I've been seriously questioning staying in this relationship anyway. One thing he has kind of been obsessing over is the fact that the baby is a boy and passing on his name. We picked a first name that I absolutely love, and he wants to give him his first name and his middle name and his surname. I have been going through this pregnancy virtually alone, and quite frankly, I have earned a right to name my baby over what he wants. So I brought this to him today, that I will be naming our son with the first name we agreed on. My father's name as his middle name and my last name. He didn't take it well at all. He immediately wanted to know why, and I told him how alone I've felt through this pregnancy, how little he has contributed, and how I don't want to be in another situation where my children don't share my last name. He's now laying down in our bedroom. He has been for 4 hours. It won't say anything to me. So am I the a-hole for taking my son's paternal lineage away from him? I know I'm going to be the primary, if not the sole, caretaker of this baby, and I don't want to be the mom with 2 kids and 3 last names. Not the a-hole. If your boyfriend wants some paternal lineage, then he better start acting parental. You aren't married, and he isn't taking responsibility for the life he helped create. The straight edge. It was my ex who was the addict. My boyfriend isn't an a-hole necessarily, but he's incredibly distant. Not the a-hole. If all he can contribute is a name, he really isn't much of a father or partner. Why did you choose to have a child with yet another emotionally unavailable man? I agree. You need to get it together. You deserve better for yourself and your children. Don't get pregnant with a boyfriend. Wait until you have a husband. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for deciding what food I want to be served on my wedding? My fiancé and I are about to get married next 3 months. I wanted to have these dishes on my wedding: shrimp, stuffed crabs, and some grilled meat. We also included fruits, drinks, and pasta. While we are busy accomplishing our wedding must-haves, I heard from my dad that my stepmother is upset about how I'm obviously telling her that I don't want her in my wedding because of my decisions. She said that if I cared about her, then I would have taken notes that 1, she is allergic to shrimp, and 2, she is vegan. My dad advised that we should cater for vegan options. I don't know much about these types of dishes, nor how to make vegan versions of other foods. What I only know is that vegans eat salad, fruits, and anything without animal meat. So I approached her and informed her that we did include fruits and drinks to the menu. I offered to reserve a single bowl of salad just in case fruits aren't her thing. She then told me that I'm a witch for only offering her fruits and salads, and that if I really cared, then I would have searched for more food options and not just feed her grass. I was willing to take out and reserve a restaurant-made solo dish, but her attitude towards me made me think that she doesn't deserve to be in my wedding. I don't know whether I should spend time researching and where to buy takeout vegan dishes or simply serve what I can give. I am not vegan, but why are there no veggie side dishes? Something as simple as stuffed peppers or zucchini boats would be simple for people who want something besides meat, fish, and fruit. Agree. Her attitude is poor, but it always baffles me that things like this become a big issue at weddings. It's Opie's stepmother, so she probably knew she was vegan. Why not reach out to the caterer and ask if they can accommodate a meal for vegans/vegetarians or those with allergies? No fuss, no issues. Doesn't impact the menu that the bride/groom wants either. Also, to be fair, fruit, a drink, and a side salad isn't a reasonable meal. Everyone sucks here. She's overreacting but has a valid point, and you are not being very thoughtful at all. Offering just fruit and salad is very insulting, and I'm not even vegan. 2/10 for effort. Think again. So I approached her and informed her that we did include fruits and drinks to the menu. I offered to reserve a single bowl of salad just in case fruits aren't her thing. You're the a-hole.